Hello everyone, my name is Natil Sinia, and I would like to welcome you back to my channel. We have returned to the archives in this video. I will not be continuing the archive tour. That will be in another video, perhaps tomorrow or later on this week, but relatively soon. Today, instead, I will be talking about a couple of characters of mine. A few fans over on Blue Sky did put in a request for today's video topic, and what I got was that people would like to see me or hear me talk about two characters, Cepheus and Cheddar. I do believe they tend to be the community favorite from those that know my work, and I'd be more than happy to talk about them. Cepheus and Cheddar are from the same project, that being Project H here. They are both part of the main cast. Cepheus appears first in the story. He appears in Act 2, whereas Cheddar appears in Act 3. I'm going to go ahead and get them pulled up right here. So we're going to go ahead and start off with Cepheus first, since he does appear, again, first before Cheddar. So his full name would be Sir Cepheus Pallas. That is because he is a knight. Knights on Anvir, they do differ than the typical knights on here on Earth. The main key difference, or the main thing about Anvirian knights, is that they serve to either protect or / guard something. That is what they do. They can also be hired for freelance to retrieve something that typically is like, quote unquote, like a dangerous quest of sorts. Like, oh, if you need to get like this one specific jewel that's like maybe guarded by some ferocious beast, you would hire a knight for that. So that's pretty much like just a loose terminology on knights in Anvir. Knights, to be recognized as an official knight and gain the title of Sir, and anyone can have that title of Sir. It's a gender-neutral term on Anvir. But you only get that and you're recognized officially as a knight once you have received your signature weapon and have a high enough reputation for being a good, reliable knight. There's no way to really measure what the latter means. Like, what are you considered, like, when is a knight considered good or reliable? That's typically if they have a history of completing freelance tasks, retrieving things, or are known really well to protect whatever they are protecting, may it be an object, a person, that sort of thing. So with Cepheus, this is what he looks like. His design stays pretty consistent within Project H throughout the acts. You're gonna notice, or if you follow through my work long enough, you will notice that I tend to have characters undergo physical changes and whatnot to their outfits as the story progresses. This is not the case with Cepheus, and I'm very intentional with that. He remains pretty much the same looking throughout the entirety of his story. Project H takes the course over 10 years, about 10 years or so, but he remains pretty much the same throughout that entire time. This is a very old drawing, very blurry, but I'm very purposeful with that. It reflects his mindset, how he's very adamant on things, very unchanging, very unwavering. Yes, here he is. Yep. So, yep, Sir Cepheus Pallas. So he appears in Project H, where Celine Mio is the main character. He appears in Act 2, and he essentially comes, when he does make his appearance, he is claiming to be Celine's brother. And Celine If you're not already familiar with her, I'll go ahead and show her. I need to make like a whole video separate about Celine. Let me go ahead and pull up her Act 3, because that's the one I always draw the most. Here we go. Hello, Celine. So Cepheus appears in the story, and like one of the first few things he's like, he tries to communicate is stating that he is Celine's brother. And Celine is like, what are you talking about? I don't have any siblings. Stay away from me. And with that, it kind of hurts. It hurts Cepheus so much, so much. I am with this video trying to maintain or trying to keep in mind the perspective of what the reader will see as if they were reading the story for the first time. So you might hear me take a pause, being like, "Oh wait. Is this what the reader actually is going to read off the get-go?" So from the reader's perspective, and from the listener's perspective here, with you guys, all we see is that Cepheus appears. He is in a pretty bad shape when he appears. He's essentially a stowaway that managed to tag along with Celine. And when once he's noticed, it's like, who the heck are you? And he's like, I'm your brother. Please, believe me. And Celine's like, no, stay away from me. And it's, again, very clear that it hurts him. But when he tries to explain more to Celine, she kind of shuts it down. And we, as the viewer, as the reader, don't get to hear any more from him for the time being. But he is allowed to stick around in the environment. Not because of Celine, but because of Celine's pirate captain Chiari, and from Celine's guardian, Master Horo, being like, he will stay here with us. He will stick around, and Celine doesn't take too kindly about it, but there's not much that she can do, so she's kind of just there, accepting the fact that he's there, but tries to avoid him as much as possible. Whereas with Cepheus, he's trying to get Celine's attention so dearly, and just there's something urgent that he's so desperately trying to tell her, but she's not going to listen no matter what. But regardless, Cepheus recovers from his disheveled state. It's clear that whatever he's been through has been horrendous on him. When we first see him, he looks like he's barely eaten. He's covered in all sorts of wounds and scars, bruises. We do learn that he's an Ingel. And Ingel are essentially winged folk. On Anvir, their base build is similar to us humans. The things that are different is that they do have wings like an angel, and then their hands and their feet are taloned like a bird of prey. Ingel, their wings and their digit features and also their behavior a bit is all based off of a bird of prey. So that includes like what their wings look like. Cepheus here, we don't really get to see it much because he wears this big cloak. He's actually based off a snowy owl. So he is a snowy owl Ingel. I do believe I have a good example of that. Let's see, I think it's actually in memes. And I'll be going through these folders in the future soon enough. So we get to see here in this colored little sketch of Cepheus that he has the wing pattern of a snowy owl. So, and then not only that, he also has, again, his hands and his feet his digits are taloned. I believe I also have an example of that, a little visual example. If I can remember where it is. One moment. I think it's in miscellaneous right here. Is it in art? It is in art. Hello. This is what I'm talking about right here. So we kind of get to zoom in here, like really. I do want to get better at portraying the talons and whatnot, but we do see like how his nails are all long, and we have a bit of feathers on his arms and legs and whatnot. And we do get to see a bit more of those markings, those snowy owl markings here with him. But so when we see him, he's in this awful state. Let's see, let's go back to him. Gallery. And the worst of it, despite him being like his entire body covered in these bruises and cuts, awful. It's almost as if like it looks like to us that whatever he's gone through for a very long time. One can guess years. But the worst of it are his wings, which are terribly broken and are either like still broken, or if they have healed, they have healed incorrectly, where they hang limp from his body. They drag too much on the ground. There's a bit of, with Allengale, their wings are so big that their feathers do drag behind them, but with Cepheus, they're just completely just lifeless, dragging behind him. Every step he takes, he leaves like a little trail of feathers. His feathers themselves are awfully brittle and just out of shape. Bald patches on his wings, and it's horrible. It's horrendous. But with the help of Celine's crew, from specifically Master Horo, Celine's caregiver, she takes in Cepheus and goes ahead and helps him recover from whatever he had been experiencing. Horo is a witch. She, like all witches on Anvir, travels around and heals people from injury or sickness. So Horo, she's like, oh no. It takes in Cepheus to heal, patch up, nurse and whatnot. It does take quite a while. It's awful. Process for Cepheus. He's in pain, and he's always going to be in pain, no matter what, from whatever he just got out of. But once he is well enough to fully walk around, not fly, he's not able to fly in Project H for years, for at least, I think, about 6 years. Yeah, about 6 years. To hide the fact that he's in like his wing, especially for his wings, he's very keen on hiding his wings for some reason. Yes, part of it is because how broken they are, but he's like really, really adamant on not leaving much of a trace as where he's been. So like whenever his wings do drop feathers, or his body just drops feathers, he always picks them up. He never leaves them behind and whatnot. He's always terribly paranoid, as if something's out to get him. So part of this, him hiding himself, is him putting on this cloak. So he's always wearing this cloak, always hiding his wings. So it's really easy to forget that he's an Ingel, but he is. But regardless, he tends to not really focus on himself. He puts his entire focus on Celine. he's always insistent being like, you need to stay close to me, you cannot leave my side, I need to keep my eyes on you no matter what, you must be guarded, you must be protected, please let me protect you. And whenever he starts that up, Selene always just shoves him away, being like, you don't know me and I do not know you, we are strangers, we have never met before, leave me alone. It breaks his heart terribly. And the others in the story, the other main characters, specifically Captain Milena, Captain Chiari, she sees this desperation in Cepheus. And she fully believes that there is something that, there's a reason why Cepheus is the way he is towards Selene. He means nothing but the best intentions. And even with Master Horo, so they agree to keep Cepheus around. And Cepheus, his whole deal, once he is officially a main character, like part of the story, his whole deal is just making sure that Selene is safe. He pushes for this whole deal that Selene cannot be left alone. She must be watched wherever she goes. It must be reported. And that does become the case, where he does successfully push to have this measure of protection for Selene, his sister. Presumably, that's why he's claiming to be. He's claiming that he is her older brother, and it is his job to protect her. At least with Milena, because it's very clear that Selene is like, I don't want any part or deal with this. With Milena, she's like, well, I can't necessarily have you keep your eyes on Selene all the time, but if you want to join my crew, my pirate crew, and just watch over the ship, we can do that, if that will help, because I'm not about to have you, like, hover over Selene all the time. But there's clearly something going on, so I'm willing to have you on the ship. And Cepheus, he does accept. He's like, okay, yes, I will be the ship guard, the ship knight. I will not partake in any sort of pirate activities you guys have going on. It's against my code, but I will oversee the ship and make sure nothing happens to it. And then that way he can keep an eye on Selene. So there's that kind of compromise going on. Is Selene asked about this? And for her opinion, no. No, unfortunately. And she's kind of just like, this guy. Whatever. Fine. As long as he doesn't get in my way. So Cepheus ends up joining the crew. And, he's always like, Selene, wherever you go, let me know. I could be there, or someone can be there for you, so you're not alone. And Selene's like, whatever. So that kind of just happens for the next couple of years or so, that Cepheus is part of the crew. Then we go ahead and fast forward a couple of years into Act 3, where we're going to come across Cheddar here. Everyone clap, it's Cheddar. He is the fan favorite of Project H. Everyone that I've mentioned to Cheddar about, they all love him. And I'm very happy about that. First thing you're going to notice, he has a fox ear. He has a pair of fox ears and a fox tail. And also he has sharp nails and whatnot. Cheddar is a werefolk, specifically a werefox. I will cover more on werefolk in another video, but that's what he is. This is what he would look like in the full moon. This is also what he would look like in the full moon. More Cheddar. So, this is what he would look like during crescent moon. This is the Cheddar that I tend to draw the most. So, fast forward over to Act 3. The pirate crew, Milena's crew, Captain Chiari's crew, sorry. I'm so used to calling her Milena. The proper way to address her is Captain Chiari. I will talk about her in the future video. But Chiari's crew is, doing pirate stuff. Celine doing thieving stuff with the pirate crew. She ends up coming across this traveling caravan. Steals some stuff. She steals some armor and some weapons. You notice that this guy here is wearing some wearing some armor, at least on his forearms and his legs. She ends up stealing those while this dude is like replacing the bandages that he has on his arms and legs. And so this dude, his name is Leon. Cheddar is a nickname. Leon, he's over here, replacing his bandages. Has his armor off for like a few minutes. He turns away for 1 second. He looks back. His armor is gone. And he's like, what? No, I kind of need this. Where? So he's like looking, surveying the caravan that stopped to do trading and whatnot. So he's like looking over the merchants, and like he sees her. He sees Celine, and he's like, he knows, like, he very clearly she is stealing stuff. She's stealing weapons and gold and whatnot. And he's like, my armor, please, no. So he gathers up his stuff and like kind of like follows her in hot pursuit. In the means to try to convince her to have her give back his armor, because he's like, I really need that, please. So he kind of just follows her. He does lose her. She gets away from the caravan, and he's like, ah, dang. Luckily for him, Cheddar's whole occupation is that he is a hunter. He traps and hunts game, wildlife like deer and whatnot, and puts it, the meat in the fur for trade. So with that occupation comes his ability to track. So he's like, okay, I gotta, I think she went in this direction. I'm gonna follow in this direction. Unfortunately for Celine, she has heavy her footsteps aren't heavy, but it's the fact that on her boots, on the soles of her boots, there's literal like actual iron. I'm not joking. Where are you, Celine? Let's see your boots. See your boots. Yep, her boots here are plated with iron, like iron slabs, straight up iron. So that makes her foot, especially like her footsteps, pretty heavy and whatnot. She's really reckless, so that also helps. Anywho, this man over here, by the way, Cheddar is like 21, Celine's 20, by Act 3. This man just follows the tracks and follows her back to home base TM, where she lives and where the pirate crew, hide out and whatnot. He follows her back to the sanctuary, the area where Celine grew up and lived, back to her house. And Celine, she had caught word that she was being followed. She's ready, has a spear out, and like once this guy makes it, into the air, the clearing where the sanctuary is, she points her spear right at him, and she's like, "What the heck are you doing? Who are you? Go away!" And Leon here, he's like, whoa, hi, whoa, that's, ooh, he's very wary that there's an actual weapon, being pointed at him. He's like, oh. It's like, hi, my name is Leon. I am a traveling nomadic, hunter. It's just a simple hunter game. And I was just passing through the forest. Actually, I saw you stealing at the caravan, And Selena's like, what? You saw me what? And Leon's like, I saw you stealing. And look, the only reason why I'm here is just so I can ask to get my armor back, please. It's really important to me. And if I can just have it back, that I'll be out your hair. Also, please consider not stealing from traveling merchants in the future. That would be great. Please. And Celine's over here like, no. And so, of course, Leon's over here like, well, and this is one thing I'm still trying to figure out, because I could have it that he's like, well, I'm just gonna go get the authorities. Then he could be like that, or he could just be like, all right, bye. But part of me does lean towards that. He's like, okay, well, I'm gonna just go get the authorities because I really want my stuff back, please. And at this point in the story, she's become a very infamous criminal thief. That there is a pretty bounty on her head, and on Captain Chiari's crew. So he might just be like, hey, I do he does recognize Selene. He has seen her wanted posters everywhere that he's traveled, So he's like, he might be like, I'm gonna go get the authorities. Regardless, it all comes down to Selene being like, all right, no, I'm going to knock you out because you do know where we live, you know where I live, and you know where my crew is, where the crew is. I'm just gonna knock you out and have Captain Chiari deal with you. So she's over here throwing like all the attacks, trying to stab at him with the spear, throwing all, her hands, trying to fight him. Meanwhile, Leon over here, he is just defending himself. He is not making any sort of attack moves, like nothing. He's not throwing any punches. He does not lay a single hand on her. He's just focused on, at this point, making sure that he doesn't get wounded and trying to tire Selene out enough to the point where he can try to talk with her again. Fortunately, he does get stabbed and cut a few times, which, I mean, it is a big deal, but it's an even bigger deal for him. He has a blood condition where if he gets cut, he does not stop bleeding. Really big oog right there. Really big issue right there. So he does get some slashes, some cuts on him. And he's like, oh, I'm going to be bleeding out. I really need this to end right now. Meanwhile, Selene is getting all tired out. She's actually getting tuckered out because she's like, what the heck? He's actually defending. I barely, got him a few times, but, but it ends up becoming to a point where they're at a stalemate. And the two of them are kind of just standing there. Cheddar is barely holding his arms up to guard himself, and Selene is just heaving, having at this point her daggers in her hand. She's discarded the spear altogether and just has her two knives. And throughout the entire commotion, Captain Chiari does walk up, and she's like, "What the heck is going on here?" And Selene, of course, explains. She's like, "This guy came up. He knows where we are. He knows who we are. He knows, our hideout is here. I've been trying to take care of him, but..." And Leon's over here just like, "Oh, salutations," or not salutations, sorry. "Well met, Captain. Hi, yes. What she says is true. I am a hunter, and I just want the armor that she stole back from me. Please, that would be great." And he doesn't say it like that, but he's just like, please, I just want my armor back. I really just want my armor back. And Captain Chiari, she's like, She pulls out one of her guns, points it at Cheddar, and she's like, okay, I'm giving you two options here. First option, because you said that you're a traveling hunter. You must be pretty good at navigating, right? Leon, yes, I'm great at charting the stars. I know navigation, directional. I know my place. I know how to get around. Yes. Captain Carey's like, okay, cool. So, you can join my pirate crew as a navigator and help us sail these seas, or I just shoot you right now. And we have, one less person to worry about. Isn't that right, Selene? So like, ugh. And so Leon's over here, his blood goes completely cold, frozen, ears folded back, tail close to his legs. He's just like, yeah, I'll join your pirate crew. He joins the pirate crew. He's like, yeah, I'll join the pirate crew. I'll join your pirate crew. Please, I just want to live. He doesn't say, of course, wait, he does join. He's like, yeah, I'll join. So, when he was like, all right, cool. I'll go get the crew book for you to sign your name in, and then we'll get everything underway. And then it comes to the point where, Leon has to sign his name in the book, and he's kind of just like, Captain Curry and Selene are like, what's wrong? And Leon's like, I don't know how to read or write. And Kiari's like, you don't know how to what? How old are you? 21? You don't know how to read or write? No. It's not really, being taught how to read and write isn't really much of a werefolk thing. It's not really easily accessible for us to learn such skills. And when Captain Kara's like, right, this is going to be an issue because he won't be able to read our maps. All right, Selene, you have 1 month to teach this guy how to read and write. And Captain Curry just leaves, turns around and is like, I'll see you soon. See you in a month. And Selene's over here like, why is he my problem? Why is it my responsibility to teach this guy how to read and write? Kiari replies as she's walking away, or, near the end of this whole conversation. She says, like, well, anyone who can tire you out is worth keeping on part of the crew. Also, he could teach you a thing or two about manners. Because at this point, even though I didn't really touch upon it, Leon is a very well-spoken, soft-spoken, and polite gentleman. So he's nothing but respect coming from him. And Captain Kiari's just like, you can learn a thing or two about respect from this guy as you're teaching him how to write. See you guys in a month. And yeah, Selene is tasked with teaching Cheddar how to read and write. I think I will have to end the video here. Or maybe not. If I continue on with this video as it is right now, I'm going to be talking about Selene and Cheddar for the next 3 hours. And I really want to keep these videos down to around 30-40 minutes. So that's something for me to keep in mind. But we did touch upon Cepheus a little bit. We don't really see much of Cepheus, too much from Cepheus. He's kind of just watching the ship from the crow's nest. And coming down to help with chores on the ship and, you know, cleaning and cooking and whatnot. And, you know, being watchful over Celine. If I continue talking about Cheddar, we're going to get into Celine and Cheddar territory, and I don't think we're ready for that yet. If you know, you know. But I do want to close off on this video because this video is supposed to be about Cheddar and Cepheus. Ooh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. That once these two do meet, they hate each other so much. So much. Cepheus and Cheddar. No. The reason why... sorry. So Leon gets the nickname of Cheddar from Celine once she is tasked with teaching him how to read and write. So he's over here being like, okay, sounds good. You're gonna teach me how to read and write, right? And Celine's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And let's go get you patched up, Cheddar. Referring to his wounds because he's bleeding out like an alarming rate. So that's where the nickname of Cheddar comes from. But anyways, I'll leave it on the fact that once Cepheus and Cheddar meet, it's awful between them. They want to fight each other, physically fight each other so terribly. This is like the only time Cheddar does show aggression. He's like, I'm going to beat you up. And Cepheus is like, I'm going to beat you up. And the reason why they kind of hate each other is pertaining to Celine. But I cannot get into that too much, at least for now, without first talking about the dynamic that Cheddar and Celine have. But until then, I hope to those that requested me that I talk about these two, I hope this is satisfactory, at least for a start, a good introduction to me talking about my characters. I can and I will yap about my characters for hours. The record is 11 hours. I am sure I can break that anytime. But for the sake of this video, and for the sake of you listening, I'll end it here. I want to say thank you so much for being here and listening to me start to talk about my characters. This is just the beginning of everything. My next video, I will continue on with the tour. We will be continue going on from this folder, which I'll be talking about the Earth to Anvil project next. Very exciting. But again, thank you so much for watching this video, being with me on this journey. Very excited to see where this all goes, how my stories are built, and how I share them, and hopefully how you enjoy them. But until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.